Greetings. It's time for the May edition of Insight Your Month. Choose to Think's monthly collection of tidbits, articles, books, and smartcasts that we send out to decision makers in our network. Hi, Harish. Welcome to this Insight Your Month edition.
Yeah. Hi, Ramanan.
So, Harish, let's start with our article of the month. I think we picked it because it's a very relevant piece to what is going on around us in response to that. It's an article called Seven Types of Rest. It was featured on TED.com. So, what I liked about it is that it tells you that there is more to rest than going to sleep, taking physical rest. Even mental rest isn't good enough. So, there are other kinds of rest like emotional, spiritual, and so on. So uh, I think there is some merit in the arguments that the article makes. So I think everyone listening to us, watching us today, should check it out and do maybe a quick rest audit for themselves. So I hope you've been getting your share of rest.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so one way in which you rest is to read. So tell me about the book of the month.
Yeah. So in fact, when you were talking about the rest, the first thing that came to mind was be shameless, about resting.
Hmm.
And I think in that spirit of being shameless, this month's recommendation is a shameless plug of our own, right? It's the Pause at Yellow book that we have. Pause at Yellow is something where we post these reflection questions for people to sort of pause, and I remember when we actually had the discussion, where we said the yellow is like the yellow in the traffic signal, where you just pause, take a step back, get off the so-called, treadmill, whichever one it is, whether it's the corporate one or your, lifestyle treadmill it is. But get off it, take some time to reflect, because reflection is hugely underrated, right? And you just need to pause at times to do this reflection. And what we have done in this book is actually put together 100 of these positive questions that we have sent out to our subscribers in a book. And like the title says, these 100 questions will add power, poise and purpose to your life. So yeah, that's a shameless plug from our side, but I think it's worth picking it up.
And where can people pick up this book?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. So it's one of our first few books on Amazon. So people can check that out.
Great. So from the book, let's move on to our Smartcast pick. We record our Smartcast every month. I think this month, like we were talking on LinkedIn, uh, things have slowed down because people have other things going on. Let's bring in something that we recorded a few weeks ago. This was with Shrikant Chakravarti. He's a co-founder at Curio. So Curio collects audio versions of journalism pieces from around different platforms, media houses. In the last 1 year, there has been renewed interest in consuming content in the audio format. So it was a great opportunity for us to sit down with Shrikant and find out what is powering this trend and what kinds of habits have people built around audio content. So one thing that I was surprised by was how Shrikant said that despite the fact that the commute has gone out and therefore a lot of people who used to listen to audio pieces on the commute, they've stopped doing that. But incidentally, the amount of time they've consumed audio content hasn't gone down because it's just become more spread across the entire day. So we have actually been doing some work with Curio. We have a daily Curio compound where we curate articles that they have from among their collection. So have you looked at Curio? How do you find it? How is it different from other podcasts that you listen to?
Yeah. So, Curio is fantastic because, there's always this, tension between the written word and the spoken word. In fact, I just blogged
Mm.
about it, some time back. What Curio does is it gets the best of the written word in the audio format. And what's interesting, you spoke about all these latest trends around podcasts. So if you compare a podcast, or how we consume these audio pieces of content to say the radio, the one big difference is radio is still slightly distant because of the way it is consumed as well, right? You switch on a radio, everyone in the room can listen to it. Oops, man. Yeah, so what's interesting about Curio is they actually bring these great written pieces of content in the audio format. And if you compare Curio or the way we listen to podcasts with, say, radio, which is also audio, right? Radio is out there. Everyone in the room will be listening to a radio broadcast. It doesn't seem that personal as something like listening to a podcast, because usually you listen to podcasts like this, with the earphones or AirPods in your ears. So the voice is in your head. So it seems much more personal. So actually getting those pieces of journalism, which are like the so-called mainstream media articles, and from some of the best sources out there in this format, I think it's like getting the best of both worlds for me. And I've been thinking a bit about these different ways in which ideas really spread, right? And how we've sort of come back to the whole audio channel again. And this thought actually came to my mind after listening to Shrikant talk about it in the interview. So yeah, it's a very interesting interview for everyone to check out.
Great. So while staying with audio, tell us about our pick for podcast of the month.
Oh yeah. So the podcast of the month is Matt Ridley, Sir Matt Ridley, I should say, on the Knowledge Project. Shane Parrish is one of our favorite podcast hosts. He ends up getting these great guests who and he also ends up teasing the right kind of information from these people. Matt Ridley, we know from our work in innovation, and he's also written this interesting book called The Red Queen, which doesn't sound like a book that people will read about in the realms of innovation, but it talks about human evolution. So I would recommend that book as well. So this specific podcast interview that we're talking about on the Knowledge Project, he talks about how the focus needs to shift from the great idea to actually the execution of how you bring that idea to to the real world. We've been talking about innovation is nothing but ideas to invoices, that whole journey. It is tedious, it is long, it is boring, it can be very disheartening, but that's what actually makes the difference, makes the change, right? In the podcast, he also talks about how bunch of people actually figured out how an electric bulb will work at the same time, but it was Edison who tried all those different options and figured out that I think it was Japanese bamboo or something, which he could use in the bulb, and that's how it worked, and it made it sustainable. So all those things, in fact, I was just thinking about it. So it's like the beard, right? You would have seen my beard in the earlier episodes of Insight Your Month. It's since I shaved it off, it's going to take time. I can't overnight grow the same beard of the same length. So in the intervening episodes, I'm going to have this unkempt look, but it's going to take time. So that's how innovation should also be working.
Okay, so that's our beard theory of innovation.
Yes.
So staying on Matt Ridley, I'm a big Matt Ridley fan. His books are terrific. In fact, this latest book seems to follow in this sequence where he's kind of looked at bottom up evolution, right, in so many different fields. And I would also recommend to our listeners this previous book in this series called it's called Evolution of Everything, and I think he's further explored that theme of bottom up development. I also like the fact that he says if something were to happen to Edison, the bulb would still have been invented because it had got nothing to do with one single inventor. The time was right. It was ripe for the plucking.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So talking about time, let's talk about productivity. We've got a few productivity tips this time, and we've picked them from the world of browser tab management. It seems like a very mundane topic to pick, but given the amount of time that in the last 5 years, if you look back, you spent so much time on your browsers. And if your browser is anything like mine, you have lots of tabs open at any given point, because if you're a curious person, you're always clicking links and bookmarking things for the future. So a couple of interesting extensions that I've been experimenting with, and I wanted all of you to also give it a shot. One thing is called One Tab, which I've been using for a long time. Just hit it and it builds a nice little list, single tab with a list of all your open tabs. So suddenly you have this collection and peace of mind in front of you. Another one I recently discovered was called Tab Snooze. So you can make it kind of sleep for a while and it pops up after a while. It's a great trigger for you to read something or remind yourself of something. And then recently, Chrome introduced grouping in tabs. I think it's there in Firefox as well. So the idea is you can group together a bunch of tabs and give it a name. And then again, it saves a lot of real estate on your browser. This has been around for about a year now, but not too many people know about it. So we thought we should let people know about it. Harish, how many tabs do you have open right now on your?
I was just checking that, when you were talking about it, and I think I have around 8 to 10, tabs right now. And this also ties in very nicely to another book that we, spoke about some time back, Working Backwards, right?
Hmm.
Which is about this, in which they talk about the single-threaded leadership. In fact, I think I'd also heard this quote somewhere that meditation is basically tab management in your brain, right? So if you can ensure that you're sticking to just one tab at a time, that's probably one of the best productivity hacks that you can think of.
that, that sounds like, yeah, that's a good analogy. So from that, let's go to our Blinkist pick of the month, one summary that we read every day.
Right.
From the 31 previous summaries, which one did you pick?
So the one of the most interesting ones that we read in the last month was this book called Social Chemistry by Marissa King. And what was interesting about this was that she talks about three basic types
Hmm.
of networks, right? And networking style. So one is this expansionist. These are people who have this really broad networks. One is the convener, who sort of has this very exclusive network, and is built on basis of trust. And the broker, who is connecting seemingly disparate people from different walks of life or from different areas, geographies, for their mutual benefit. So there are these three distinct styles, and you should actually be able to first identify your own networking style and align it better to your objectives and stages in life,
Hmm.
as well, stages in life or your career, because at different points you will actually need different kinds of networking style. So I thought this was really powerful, just trying to figure out what your networking style is and sort of adapting to the right kind of situation. Yeah, this was Social Chemistry by Marissa King was is our pick for the book summary. In fact, I've just bought that book as well, so definitely one of the highly recommended ones from our side.
Right, it does make you think, and I think the other interesting point is that it can be fluid. It can change from
Correct.
context to context, and you don't have to be stuck with one
Right.
style.
Yeah.
So at some point, one of us can ask each other, "Tum broker ho ya?" But no, we leave it at that. Uh, so all right, so that brings us to the end of this edition. We'll see you next one. Thank you, Harish. Goodbye.
Thanks, Ramana.